Night, Rio girl.
Night, Rio girl.
Keep an eye on your Steam for the next 2 minutes. I'm gonna send you something nice. Yeah, she mentioned earlier that she's never experienced the Doom series, and now she can. Yay!
Yeah. Hmm. Which one did you send her?
The Doom Classic Collection.
Ah. Does that come with both the originals or just the first one?
It's the let's see, it's Doom, Doom 2, I think it's Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, Master Levels, and Final Doom.
Alright, because I have the BFG version of Doom 3, which just comes to every Doom game. That's actually a really good deal.
Wish I thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. Doom 3 is very mixed. You either walk out liking it or just thinking it was okay.
Yeah. So, what all have I missed since I was away?
I'm sorry, what?
So, what all have I missed since I was away?
Not really much. Might be just you and me now.
Yeah, probably.
No, I'm still kind of here.
So I understand I missed a lot all the times I was up in the hotel room and out cold. I'm trying to guess here because I don't really know the full picture. It's a separate question, by the way.
I wish I could answer, but I was going back and forth, so I didn't see everything. Oh, did you see the Jungle Speed game though?
I don't think I did, but I did see the one where everybody was grabbing at that cup-like thing in the middle of the table.
Yeah, I think that's Jungle Speed. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as well as the game that looked like a weird mishmash of hot potato and go fish. Patrick brought a lot of weird games. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like that Panda Poker game.
Wait, what? Panda poker?
Panda
Yeah.
Poker?
How the hell does that work?
Oh dear, that is difficult to figure out.
I take it there was a lot of guesswork involved.
It's once you play it, it makes sense, but it's hard for me to actually straight up like explain what it is.
Ah, I see. I see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do my XP Fest decompression video thingamaboob where I talk about the whole thing from start to finish.
Well, have fun, dude.
I'll try to. I don't know if anybody's going to care. Anyway.
I'll sit here and just be quiet, personally.
So XP Fest. I was preparing for this for the entire week beforehand, putting together that Sega CD collection, and well, you guys saw me as I was doing that. Uh, it kinda sorta paid off in a way, and yet not really, but we'll get to that later. Ishtimo came by and hung out for a while before passing out for the night because, after all, 12-hour drive will make anybody uh, exhausted and weary and just non-functional. so, so yeah, we took off at 7 or 8 in the morning. We got the humongous storage tub loaded up and we were on our way. Um, I farted. Um, we passed by uh, we passed by construction land, otherwise known as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, um, according to Ishtimo, and I have to believe him on this because from what I've seen, it just rings true. There's two seasons in Pennsylvania: wintertime and construction. Yeah. Um, there was hardly ever a point in Pennsylvania to where there wasn't some road work going on or some kind of bridge work, something, anything that would slow traffic to a fucking crawl. Uh, it took more time than it probably should have just to get through Pennsylvania. Eventually, we got to New.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. I'm sorry too. I'm sorry there was a lot of construction work as well. But yeah, once we got to New York, things got a little bit more smoother. There was a chance. Actually, there was two opportunities, which unfortunately, due to being pressed for time, we couldn't really do. The first one was we had a chance to see Niagara Falls because we were passing by an exit, which would have taken us about a half hour off course, but uh, maybe there's next time. We don't know yet. But yeah, there was an opportunity to see Niagara Falls and one side of Canada. Probably as close to Canada as I'll ever get. Maybe. Maybe I'll get lucky. The second opportunity that we also had to pass up on was that we passed by Buffalo, meaning we could have stopped by Matt's house if we knew where he lived. I would have loved to have said hello. uh, Once we got to Syracuse, we stopped and bedded down over at East Mose for the night, and we took off again at around 7 or 8 in the morning, and another 4 hours later, it was wait, no, we took off at 6. Yes, we took off at 6, and 4 hours later, it was 10 o'clock. We arrived at the hotel. We dropped off all of our stuff and went and got ourselves some lunch. It was myself, Ishtamo, Twisted Puppet, Seawall. Let's see, there was Seawall, Anthony. He was number 5 in the group. There was one more. I'm trying to remember who it was, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, we all went and we all had these wonderful sandwiches at deli just a short ways down the block over from the Hilton. Timest, you ever been to the deli, that sandwich shop?
Oh, you're talking to me? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Did you ever go to that sandwich shop around the corner from the hotel?
No. I either ate pizza with you guys or ate at the lounge downstairs.
Ah, the lounge. We'll get to that. Um, yeah, we went and had lunch. We had a couple of hoagies. Uh, I had a meatball and cheese sandwich. It was all right. We talked for a while. We BS'd around and killed time. We eventually went back to the hotel and checked up on the room and the oh god. I'm sure it's going to be discussed in great detail if not already. I don't know if Jason's already talked about XP Fest yet, but I'll go ahead and give my side real quick. Um, we arrived at the hotel on a Friday morning, I think. The room, we had like a third of the ballroom available to us. The rest of it was blocked off because the hotel had double booked. They double booked, and there was some sort of business conference going on where you could hear there was a lot of applause going on in the main ballroom, but we didn't know what the hell was going on. At least I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew that there were shit tons of suits and really expensive outfits. Um, yeah, everyone was very conservatively dressed. So yeah, it was evidently a more professional venue than what we were putting together. Doesn't matter. We were putting together the room. We were getting all the games in place. We were getting them all stamped and prepared so that they would be easily tracked in case something went wrong. Um, I was half and half. I got half of my games stamped because honestly, I was the only person who brought the Japanese NES games, including the discs. I've mentioned a couple times that I own a Famicom with the disc add-on with the Famicom disc, as well as several Famicom cartridges, as well as Famicom discs. I love that picture, by the way. It's funny as hell. Fun fact: that's actually a Neo Geo advertisement. If you're watching the stream. Anyway, it took a while to get everything in order. I got everything unpacked. I had everything sorted out to where all of my shit was in working order. At least I'd like to think it was in working order. I got my Xbox, my classic Xbox, my 360, my Sega Genesis with Sega CD, my Famicom with disc, aforementioned, and my Super NES Model 2 with Famicom adapter. The Famicom and the Super NES were not installed until day 2. There was issues. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, or at least I am. I was exhausted and hadn't drank a whole lot, which reminds me, for those that were at XP Fest, yeah, this was my main problem. I was exhausted, I was dehydrated to fuck, and I hadn't been getting enough liquids. Same with not enough food. So I went upstairs thinking I was really, really tired and dizzy. Went upstairs to the 10th floor. Holy shit. And I slept for about, I want to say it was 5 hours. Maybe it was 4. I couldn't tell. When I got back down to the back down to the ballroom, it was all opened up, and we had the whole room to ourselves, which was awesome. And it looked like everything had been set up except for the Famicom and the Super NES. We just did not have the TV set up in time. At least that's to my knowledge. I didn't really get all the information because I wasn't a staffer. I think communication would have been nice, but nobody wanted my cell phone number, so I could not keep in touch with Chef or Link's Ocarina or Patrick, even though I offered my cell phone number. Once everything was in place, most of the people were just under such a high that everything was set up that I think they just started playing table games. I could be wrong. They might have just went out to eat or something. First thing I did was go to the Xbox Classic and test it out, make sure it was up and running. And let's see, what did I do first? I'm trying to remember. I tested out some of the emulators. And I was kind of kicking myself that the Sega Genesis and the Commodore 64 emulators that both had games, unfortunately, they were spec'd to my TV. They were set to only do 720p. It would not accept anything less, and for the life of me, I have no idea what I had to do outside of just plugging it back into a 720p television and fixing it. I had no idea outside of that how to really fix it. I deleted the settings files for the emulators, and it still didn't fix it. It was still locked to that resolution. So there was 2 emulators that weren't working, and a couple that no one really cared about. Nobody cared about Amstrad CPC emulators or ColecoVisions or ZX Spectrums. Hell, I'm not even sure anybody really bothered with the Mac and not the Mac, the Apple II emulator with Oregon Trail, Lemonade Stand, and the like. However, there was two emulators that got a lot of airtime. The NES emulator, which Master Wang conquered one of his inner demons and knocked out Mike Tyson, which was awesome. Uh, the other was the MAME OX emulator, which was a scrunched down, kind of compressed version of MAME just for the Xbox. That got the most airtime, mostly because it was MAME. It was set for 4 players. You could have parties with MAME, and there was people playing Turtles in Time. There was people playing WrestleFest. There was people playing Super Puzzle Fighter 2 of all things. Metamorphic Force got some airtime as well, which was awesome. But yeah, so much arcade goodness, and there was these two people that were playing constantly, and I didn't even know who the hell they were. Although Formula Fox mentioned earlier in this Mumble chat that one of them is in the chat room. I just don't know who he was. I didn't really get a good look at his badge, so I'm not sure who he was. I do know that he brought someone along with him, and they looked alike, so I figured they were siblings. Like maybe he brought his brother over, which that was cool as well. I just thought they were randoms, because we did have a couple. What the hell happened to my thing? There I am. I just thought they were randoms. We did have a couple of randoms in the room, which was cool. We got to meet some new people, and I was thrilled. I was thrilled we were getting to meet new people, and maybe they might be interested in the LKM. Who knows? We'll find out. Day one came to a close just very, very suddenly. It took the majority of the entire evening just to get the Sega CD back up and running, because the Sega CD is a finicky bastard. Ty, if you're still listening, I don't know if it's like this with your model, with the Model 2.
No, mine's usually, as old as it is, mine's usually runs spot on, so it might just be the model run.
It might be, because if mine is
Like
is
anytime someone, like anytime me or someone else popped in the disc and the one I brought just worked on the spot. Yeah, the Sega Genesis I had was a little wonky with some of the games, but the Sega CD ran.
Yeah, I remember testing Third World War on yours, and it ran pretty good. But yeah, mine was, if it's uneven in any way, if it's even uneven by a micro inch or whatever, or a millimeter, it will spit the disc back out. Because mine was using actual CD loading tray that would spit out much like normal CD-ROM trays. And
To be fair, the original, to anyone listening to this and doesn't know, which should be about 3 people, the original Sega CD front was a tray loader, while the Model 2 was a top loader. So
yeah, the Model 2 was much
yeah,
like a traditional compact disc player that was portable. That you pop the top and bam, it comes up. Similar things include the GameCube, the PlayStation 1, the Model 2, PlayStation 2, the Slimline model. I think the PlayStation 3 Model 2 was also a top loader. But yeah, it's essentially that kind of flip-top interface. But yeah, the Sega CD, which I'm always going to boast, it had the better BIOS music when opening it up without a disc in. It had just this
yeah, yours
kick-ass
had the better.
rockin' music.
yours had the better BIOS music. I had dun 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 dun.
Be glad you're not using the Japanese one. That one was just fucking weird. You might be able to see it on YouTube. Just look up Sega CD Japanese BIOS. You should find it pretty easily.
Oh boy.
But yeah, day one ended pretty abruptly while I was trying to beat the Amazing Spider-Man on Nightmare mode, and I was getting pretty far in the game. I was up to let's see, I was up to where the Hobgoblin gives his key up to Venom, to where you have to chase him down and get the key from him, and it was going to be the last key to lead to the final 4 levels with the Kingpin. And I was attempting to finish the game completely. And what I mean by completely is that you collect comic book covers in random levels throughout the game. And if you collect all 23 comic book covers, you get a code at the bottom of the screen, along with your congratulatory message, like, you are awesome, you did this, and But there's a little code that you include on an index card, send it in to Sega during this contest time, and you would be entered into a sweepstakes to win an autographed Ibanez guitar. An Ibanez guitar autographed by Eric Martin of Mr. Big. Why is this important? Because Mr. Big did the theme song for the Spider-Man game.
That's cool.
It is cool. It was an interesting tune. Although everybody mistook it for like 80s rock, and it's more of like an early 90s kind of rock. And also Anthony is joining us. Hey, how's it going, man? I was wrapping up day 1 of XP Fest.
Words cannot describe how tired I am right now. Well, I mean, they probably could, but you need some powerful words.
All of us been.
Isham
The second I came home, it took like a 4-hour nap before waking back up.
Yeah. Ishmael's in the other room. He still is demanding I just go to fucking bed, and I can't. I'm wide awake, and there's so much things I want to do before I go to bed. He still has another 12 hours to go before he's totally done. He still has to get home.
Oh wow! All right, so we're finished with day 1, and now we head to day 2.
Day 2, which I missed a lot of. Because I didn't truly wake up until 11 o'clock. I think that was what time it was. Twisted tried to get me up at around 9:30, I think, but I just fell back asleep, and I woke up. It was 11 o'clock. I came down to the hotel room, and I forget, did Jason arrive around then, or was it later that day?
I don't know, because I didn't get down till about 11 o'clock, and Jason was already there. So he said he should have been in by 11, so he might have just arrived when I came down.
Sorry, something was in my mouth. But yeah, day 2, there was a lot more table games. There was a lot more people. There was a lot more people checking in. A lot of them I had just met for the first time.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
actually, no, go ahead. I was about to say the same thing. Like, yeah, I met a lot of people for the first time too, but you go ahead.
But yeah, I got to meet I got to meet Anthony for the first time. I got to meet I got to meet Kiri for the first time. I got to meet Colorado for the first time. I didn't even realize that was Colorado. I thought that was somebody else because I didn't know what he looked like. And
I gotta say, none of you people look like what I imagined you. Especially Ty.
What, you can't make a deep voice to a tall dude?
You a good-looking man.
Who was that sexy beast?
I guess.
Jim Penn was the biggest surprise of all, I think, though.
Yeah, I did meet him on day one, and he seemed really interested in the stuff that I brought. I was kind of surprised.
By the way, I stole his badge. I have Jim Penn's floppy.
Another memento, I guess.
It is mine now.
Do you pet it like a cat?
I haven't yet, but I'm considering it.
Let's see. Who else did I meet for the first time? Enforcer. I met Enforcer for the first time. I didn't know who he was. I thought he was I thought he was some other staffer, and it turned out it was Enforcer. So that was cool. I got to meet him.
Yeah, there are some people that when you look at them, you can immediately say, this guy's ex-military. The Enforcer is one of those people.
And then I saw this strikingly gorgeous dark-haired woman, and I had no idea who she was until she spoke, and I was like, oh crap, it's Heka. Hey.
You look much different than I imagined.
Because I always thought, wait, isn't she much shorter? Or that's, you know.
But yeah, at first she wouldn't say much, and I was thinking, okay, it's either Heka or Licorice, but she's got to talk a little to make up my mind.
Yeah, I learned later that she is somewhat socially awkward, which would explain why she was quiet most of the time.
That explains why she's quiet most of the time anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping she opens up soon because she seems like a pretty cool person to hang out with.
Actually, end of day 3, I had a lengthy conversation with Heka about food. Apparently, her parents know how to cook, but they are completely unimaginative, so they end up making just...
You kind of cut out for there for a second. Just, what?
Apparently, her parents know how to cook, but they're not very imaginative, so they'd end up just making chicken.
Chicken. Wow.
And she said quite possibly the most southern thing I have ever heard, especially from Finland, is, I like chicken, but there's so many other animals that I haven't had a chance to eat yet.
I remember her mentioning that she didn't quite care much for fish.
Though apparently she has had whale, and I want to try whale now.
Also, for the record, she is Norwegian.
What did I say?
You said Finland.
Oh.
It's all right.
I don't know where I got that from. I don't think anyone's from Finland.
Same region, just not the right country. You were close. You were just one country
off. I thought
off.
Norway, but I said Finland.
It's all right, man. But yeah, there was a lot of people there, including one that I saw at VGFF. He was also a cool cat to hang out with. I just didn't know who the hell he was, and it turned out he was Weeaboo. Yeah.
You really do, Quebecer. You need to show up.
Especially now that we know what we are as a convention.
We're a bunch of friends playing games that invite other friends to play games.
So a small convention, I guess.
Kind of small, but if we can get more people from the Mafia to come, that would be awesome too.
It was quite small, but if next year, if we can get a room, it'll look bigger.
I am considering tightening up the game consoles and the library for next year, because from what I've come to notice, not a whole lot of them were played. It was mostly just the Xbox with the main ROMs.
Uh, and sadly, we always come to the conclusion that we always have more consoles than TVs at the end.
Yeah, that was also a problem. I know it was brought up at the meetings a lot, but
Was
yeah,
that a huge problem?
getting composites of VGA converters was an issue.
And I was originally going to bring two. Sorry to interrupt. I was originally going to bring two TVs, and which is still the offer still on the table. But unfortunately, my girlfriend's car is way too small to fit the TV and her stuff and my stuff. So.
By the way, was that your girlfriend with you when you were signing up for your badge?
Yes, it was.
Oh, cool.
She's cute.
Thank you. But yeah, she did want to come down. She says she was happy playing Final Fantasy 14, commandeering my PS4. So she was happy. I was happy.
As long as she had a good time.
Yeah, she did. I have two disappointments. One I'll talk about later. The first one is something I probably should have looked into. Like you said earlier, about your main ROM, the same thing happened with my PS3. I didn't realize that what you would call it on my PS3. Let me explain. My PS3 is usually hooked up to my regular TV, not the tiny ass computer monitor I brought. So when I hooked it up to the tiny ass computer monitor, the resolution was too high. So far, now the PS3 is useless unless I bring it back to my room and change and lower the whatchamacallit. By then, the Sega CD became essentially part.
It cut off at the last part. What was that? I'm sorry, man.
No,
It essentially becomes what?
I said by then the Sega CD essentially became the console to play on that TV, so I said, you know what, I'll just let that be. That my second player control was a little screwed up anyway, so if any of us played Street Fighter on that thing, it would have been kind of unfair for whoever had to hold that thing.
Also, Ishmo, I don't know if you're still listening, but you need to mail me your Tandy because I will beat Apollo 18 if it's the last thing I do.
He's in the other room asleep. He is passed out.
No.
He is.
Mail me your Tandy.
Well, hopefully we just send him this video and he hears.
I'll send him a message. Actually, you can go ahead and send him a message through Steam. He'll get it once he gets home.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been out.
I just needed to say it out loud so I can promise that I will one day beat Apollo.
If you're watching the stream, you can't. He can't exactly hear you because headphones.
Like I gotta eventually bring myself a copy of Pop for Mail so I can beat that game. Because God, I sucked when I played it the first time.
Just say the word, man. I'll send you a copy. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Oh boy. Yes, a perfectly legal copy.
You know what? Let's just clear the air about this. The Sega CD is old and dead, and nobody cares about it anymore. Sega doesn't care about it anymore. The companies don't care about the Sega CD anymore. So let's just stop caring about the idea of it being piracy. It's no longer piracy.
It's preserved at this.
We're just preserving games at this point.
And I think there's no Sega CD games on the Virtual Console in the Wii either, so fuck it.
Other than Sonic CD, I think there's no other real virtual games on Sega CD that went to any system yet. Well, okay, Sonic CD and Lunar, of course.
Sonic CD, Lunar, Final Fight. Although that was a specialized version of it. We eventually got the legit version of Final Fight, the arcade game, so that was awesome. Although it would have been nice if the time attack mode from the Sega CD had made an appearance on the Capcom thing, because that would have been awesome too. Because
Reese, you
go ahead.
You will be happy to know that I did use the Sega CD to play The Secret of Monkey Island for the first time ever, and I like it.
That was awesome. Was this after I took off the I/O shield that was sitting next to it? That big piece of metal.
I don't recall seeing a big, huge sheet of metal.
I think he was using my Sega CD, dude.
Okay.
Well, whoever's it was, I used somebody's Sega CD to top load. I played Secret of Monkey Island, and it was awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. But yeah, around the end of day 2, I was just getting frustrated that I couldn't get Switch Panic to run. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And just out of desperation, I pulled out the I/O shield, which was a big piece of metal that was there to lock the Sega Genesis into place on top of the Sega CD so it wouldn't slide off or some shit like that. And it actually improved the situation rather than hindered it.
I was gonna say, what? Well, who it was?
You kind of cut out there. I'm sorry, man.
No, I said I saw somebody playing Switch Panic. I didn't get a chance to see who it was.
If it was late on day 2, Saturday night, then it might have been me because I was playing it for a while.
Alright.
Yeah. I figured if we're not going to get what live, then we may as well get some kind of what. And it does qualify as what because it's a what the fuck kind of game.
It's essentially what the fuck. I was about to ask about what live too because I went to bed about 11 o'clock that night.
Speaking of going to bed, have a good night, Anthony. Take care. Bye, Anthony. See you in chat. Yeah, so, yeah. I'm trying to remember what the hell I was doing when day 2 came to a close. I think I was playing a Famicom game. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There was this kid. I don't know his name. He was a local for the Connecticut area. He was making all these D&D characters and setting up a D&D session. I will never forget this stupid thing that this guy did, and I'm going to make fun of this kid because of this stupid thing he did.
We have witnessed D&D sessions ran by Jason and Spoonie, and this kid do something stupid. I gotta hear this.
It didn't involve the games.
Oh, that's even worse.
This was a hotel room thing that he did. The first night, he was sharing the room with me, Ishimo, and Twisted Puppet. This kid. By the way, who was that kid in the Japanese Mario T-shirt on day 1?
Sorry, I really couldn't remember.
He was someone who was very out of touch with the mafia, but wanted to get back into it. And he just seemed like a really socially awkward person. I'm just gonna call him a kid because I'm a dick like that.
Oh, Ganondorf.
Oh, Ganondorf. Okay, Ganondorf. This kid. This motherfucker. He fucking orders a Domino's pizza at fucking midnight while we're all trying to get to sleep. This was just after day 1 shut off for the night, and we all had to like fuck off and go to our hotel rooms. He couldn't sleep because he was so busy coming up with D&D characters and sessions and modules and whatnot. So he orders a Domino's pizza, has it delivered to our hotel room. We're all trying to sleep. Twisted and Ishimo are trying to sleep. I'm trying to catch up in Stowe because I hadn't played Stowe that day. I needed to get the daily in because of the fucking summer event going on. And yeah, pizza comes in. Twisted eventually gets up and grabs a slice. Some of it drips off onto the fucking bed. Same with Same with Gandorf. He drips a little bit on my bed.
That had to be a
Orders a
painful one.
He orders a Mountain Dew. Doesn't even open it. He just left it there by the nightstand. It was still in its bag on day 3.
I thought it was bad when the pizza me and my girlfriend ordered. Well, then again, the pizza I ordered was like a huge ass $40 pizza, so that was meant to last for 3 nights, and it essentially did with leftovers.
By the way, that pizza I brought in on day 3, that was the leftovers from that pizza that was ordered that night.
Oh, damn.
And fun fact, I did find a microwave. That's how it was a little bit warm.
Wait, your hotel room had a microwave?
Not my hotel room. I think it was called the Saratoga room, which is on the 6th floor. It's some kind of mini conference room. But yeah, it's always open and it has a microwave. So I took advantage of it and heated up the pizza, and it was kind of warm, but there was still some slices on the very bottom that were cold. And I was kind of upset about that, but whatever. At least the ones on top are fine. I'm just glad people got in on it and got something to eat. I got 1 or 2 slices, I think. Excuse me. Oddly enough, that wasn't me barfing burping any of them up. Barfing? Are you kidding me?
What did Baltimore do to you, Anthony?
Also, fuck Baltimore, really? Also, Hartford. What's up with Baltimore and Hartford?
Yeah, that was also a good point that people made, that nothing was really open at all.
Not even the CVS down the road, which I could not point to you on a map. I did not know where anything was. In fact, this is something that's probably going to be brought up at the next XP Fest meeting, whenever the fuck that is, because we needed Google Maps just to figure out where the fuck we were supposed to go, just to find anything. The Burger King, we didn't know where that was. CVS, we didn't know where that was. The fucking bar that Chef wanted to go to,
Yeah,
he knew where it was.
The only reason most of the time we ate at the hotel, me and my girl, was because all the other places we looked at Google Maps was like 4 or 5 blocks away. We're like, do we really want to drive out to get this, or would rather just take the hit and pay ungodly amounts of money for the hotel food?
We walked all of those blocks just to go to a fucking CVS and get cheap Gatorade. Well, at least I did. They wanted fucking booze.
I feel so bad. I'm sorry, dude.
It's not your fault. I didn't know that you knew where it was. If I knew, I would have asked for if you could spot me a ride.
And I'm pretty sure we have gave it to you.
Speaking of the Gatorade, because of the insane prices in the lobby, I had to buy a Gatorade at the front desk because I was exhausted and I was dehydrated as fuck, and this is how they make their money. I was tapped out on day 1. I'm not kidding.
I was afraid I was going to be tapped out, so I'm grateful we ordered pizzas the last 2 days, or I'd probably not only be tapped out, probably be in the red right now.
Hell, I'm glad I still had money when I was on my way to XP Fest. By the way, I probably should have mentioned this. Destiny USA, this place